Hi everyone, and welcome to the Gigabyte Aorus Z370 Gaming 7 Coffee Lake motherboard review. God, that's a mouthful. Okay, so straight into the nitty gritty, and that is because there are many other motherboard reviews and the actual processor review live on the channel for you to go and take a look at. And if you want to go and have a look at some previews, we have even more boards over on my secondary Rush Kit channel. So they're just the previews. But with the Gaming 7, what we can see straight away is the white has gone, and we will cover that in a minute. But when we get into like the box and stuff, pretty much you just get your SATA cables and your RGB extenders and stuff. You do get this sticker pack, and you do get some Aorus Velcro tabs, but there's nothing else particularly exciting in the box. Now, as I did say, the white has gone this time, and they've gone for more of a silvery grey kind of effect, and it makes me think of something a bit robotic and industrial with the way it looks like it's plated and almost screwed into place. Now I will show you the parts lit up, but you can pretty much see where all the parts are going to be because they're the white bits. This is an M.2 heatsink, as you can see there, but you do have two other ones here without covers. I think I probably would favour this one out of all of them if I was going to fit any of them. But again, do you know what I mean? If you wanted to go down the bottom, if you want to see which one is the coolest, you can obviously swap them around and see how you get on. You can see we've got some Weimer caps down here for the audio, as well as some Japanese capacitors. Around the back, you can see that we've got gold-plated contacts. Gold-plated contacts for the onboard video as well, but what you can see inside there is a tiny little fan. Now, if your VRMs hit 90 degrees, that fan will turn on and it spins at 6,000 RPM, so it's not exactly quiet, but you can disconnect it over here if you want, and you can manually set what you want it to be as well within the software and the BIOS. But if I'm honest, I pummeled the bejesus out of this board and never got it to spin. So I think it's more of a like a panic thing after the X299 stuff. These are your amp up DAC dedicated, I think it's 5 volt USB out, so it gives you a decent clean signal for your digital analog decoder if you've got one, or you know, any other thing that you want a very clean USB signal on. PS2, USB 3.1 Gen 2 in A and C, couple of gigabit ports. It kind of ticks all the right boxes. You've got 10 phases around the VRMs as well, and some black capacitors, some increased kind of quality chokes when you're comparing it to the lower end models, where you've got 10 phases and a couple of heat sinks as well. It's all going to be pretty good. Now, there are a lot of lighting points around the board, which I'll show you, but we've got a USB 3 and a 3.1 connector here. There are quite a lot of fan headers. You can use this one, like I said, you don't have to use it for that baby fan, so you can take that out, but you will need to then manually set that one up. Got a couple there. Then one thing that there is a RGB W header up here, so you can use it. Cable mod do RGBWs and RGB UV kits, so the extra channel is either for a dedicated white or for a dedicated ultraviolet, and Gigabyte are the only ones doing this at the moment. I can't see why more people haven't. I suppose maybe people don't want to use white very much. But anyway, you've got CMOS. I'm trying to look, we'll zoom you in because I can read it better when I zoom in on the camera anyway. So you've got a CMOS switch and a normal reset switch there, power switch, overclock switch. Then you've got another fan header here. Coming down the outside of the board, you've got your 6 SATAs. Down the bottom of the board, you've got system fan 5 or a pump header, and then you've got 2 more fan headers here. You've also got a PCI or a postcode readout, which is always handy. A couple of internal USB 2s. Another RGBW down here as well, and that's pretty much it for around the board. There's nothing else that kind of jumps out at me. Now yes, it is daytime here at the moment, and if I'm completely honest, it's like 20 to 12. I'm not sure whether the camera will focus in on it, but it's 20 to 12, 25 to 12 on the 5th of October. So today is NDA day, so I'm properly down to the wire on this. But what you can see is there are a lot of lighting points on the board. The PCI Express connectors are kind of cool. I like that. The lights that I don't like are the individual ones kind of here, because they're very, still think they're visible, or too visible. I think they would have been better if they'd been hidden underneath a little bit more. But you can see what I was saying to you about the white parts being lit up, and that is the same for down on the actual chipset heatsink as well. Chipset heatsink's actually kind of got a really nice feel to it. You've got lighting in between the DIMMs as well, and this slot can be removed and customized. But as I've said in all the videos that I've done and seen this, I'm yet to see anywhere that's selling them. And if you can buy blanks, or you got given a blank in the box that you could then get customized, it would make life a lot easier. But I've literally only seen the ones that come on the boards. But lots of lighting on it. There's nothing around the back. Okay then, so when talking about performance, it did perform well. We got it to overclock quite well and quite easily too. And the long and short of it was one of the first boards, or the first board really, that we've been able to easily get to 5.1 gigahertz. Now that wasn't a benchable score or anything. It was literally, we got a screenshot at 5.1, and then we ended up running in on the normal 5 gigahertz at 1.26 volts. When it came to memory, we did get a screenshot for 4000 megahertz. I mean, to be honest with you, if you thought that Coffee Lake was going to bring in much higher memory speeds and times, it's pretty much exactly the same as it was with Z270. So you can get 4000 megahertz for a screenshot. Maybe with a bit more BIOS and a bit more tweaking, we could have got that stable. But to be honest with you, you know what I mean, it really is like for proper high-end people that are just wanting blistering edge performance. And you also need to know what you're doing, because you will more than likely need to be able to set stuff up as well. It can affect a high-end overclock as well if you're trying to get the memory and the CPU playing at the same time. 3866 with XMP was doable though, but you know, you do have to keep in mind that if you are going to do that, the boards will auto set your VCC, I/O and system agent voltages. Now, although this wasn't as bad as I've seen on some of the other boards, it is still an area that every user that is going to push past that 3200 megahertz mark should really be taken into account and trying to drive their temperatures down, drive those voltages down. So we benched at 5 with 3866 for the overclock, and then we did the normal stock run with 3200 megahertz. But the performance didn't really correlate into the graphs as well as I was expecting. So Blender, it was, you know, it wasn't last, but at the same time it wasn't, you know, brilliant. X265 Benchmark was a similar kind of thing really. The Cinebench one, it preferred it to stock than it did with the overclock. IDA memory benchmark, this was a weird one as well. I mean, to be honest with you, with the IDA memory benchmark, we actually started turning the speeds down to see if we could get the scores to go up anymore. And then PC Mark 10 was not great either. Now, so the performance, the weird thing is this is obviously one of the last boards that we've done for launch. So it does mean that we have got a few more tests in the graphs. Now, obviously, when we have more stuff in the graphs, it actually means that we can see how well stuff's performing. And I would say with the Gigabyte that it's probably early BIOS. Now that surprises me, because normally Gigabyte have really good, strong BIOS at launch. And I say at launch because they do have a habit of ruining it after launch. I don't know whether they've got two BIOS teams, but this time it performed really well. It didn't have any like massive bugs or anything like that. I didn't actually find anything specifically wrong with it. It's just that the performance was always just a smidge behind. And the reason why that's a bit of an issue is because Amazingly, the Gaming 7 is 275 quid. Now, I know the Hero that I've reviewed before, it's going to be £245. Or was it £255? Either way, it's cheaper. I'm pretty sure it's 245 that we've been given, 24999. So it's quite a bit more expensive than the Hero. And if I'm honest with you, other than the lights that are on the board, I'm not exactly sure what else it's bringing to the table. So if you were going to choose between the two, it's always going to be your personal preference. But I would say that the BIOS is still very basic in the way that it looks and the options that it gives you. And the performance is a little bit behind, yet they want to take more money off you for the privilege. And I think, do you know what I mean? It would come down to, for me, if I was to be buying this, I literally would be buying it because I liked the lights around the PCI Express, or I liked the lights around the memory slots. Now, don't go thinking it's a bad board, because obviously we've shown that it's got some possibilities there. We've got 5.1 screenshot with it. It did do the overclock really well, and the tolerances between the scores are actually quite small. It's only where we do test in such a methodical way with the same stuff and the same way that we can pick between them, and we obviously put all of these graphs up for you. But the price, yeah, you've got to take it all into account. So I will be nice in the fact that I'll give it the OC3D approved award, and approved doesn't mean that it's kind of like it would be the one we would choose. It's just approved in it's not a bad board. Yes, it's worth some consideration. But if you told me to put it in the lineup with the boards that we've done so far, it would probably be second place against the Hero and the Godlike. And the reason why it would go in front of the Godlike is the Godlike is £530. And this can outperform the Godlike in some of the scenarios. So it's, do you know what I mean? It is a strange one. I think it will get better with BIOS, and I would urge them to get it better with BIOS. But I think it might have been a little bit more of an enticing purchase if it was about £50 cheaper, which is obviously a massive step down. But it's quite thick and full in that market, and I don't know. Let me know what you think underneath, because I obviously read every single comment that goes on the videos. Don't forget, you can go and have a look at the full review on the OC3D website if you are interested, and we do also have the forums, Instagram, Twitter, my personal Tiny Tom Logan Facebook page, and the OC3D normal website Facebook page as well. So if you're interested, come and follow, come and join in the madness. But for now, at least, this has been the tiniest of Logans out. Ding! It's a rare ding.